Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and today we have an upgraded deck list for the Rejuvenation Frieza leader that came out a couple sets ago. It's a really kind of wonky leader based on just the life mechanics that work for it, and it just came out in a set where they were changing up how we thought about the life mechanic and what they represented, and being able to flip it and do other things that we normally don't do with cards in our life. So obviously they start off with just an area where we draw from our damage, but now they kind of evolved into something new with this. So it did get a new card from the anniversary box as well. We'll also do a quick primer for anyone who's kind of forgotten how this deck works. It's kind of weird, and then I'll just kind of talk about the deck list in general after that. So going into our new Z battle card, it's Frieza, just a warm-up. It's a 1 cost for 1 Z energy, and it is a 15k, which is pretty good for that amount of stats. It's pretty strong. But also auto, if your leader is us, when the card is played, you may add 1 mono yellow Frieza army or 1 mono yellow unison from your hand to your life face up. If you add a card from your life, draw 1 and place 1 card from your life into your drop. So for 1, you're able to proc most of the effects that specify being placed from life into our drop area, which we'll go over later, but that's pretty strong there. Also, activate main limit 1. If your leader is backside is Frieza Resurrected again, you place 1 card from your hand to the bottom of your deck. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Add 1 yellow Frieza army card among them with energy cost of 4 or less, or 1 yellow unison specify 2 among them and add it to your hand then shuffle. So I do wish it was the other way around, where you'd look top 5 and then if you added a card, you put one to the bottom. But being able to get some cycle, I think, is never a bad thing. It's an activate main too, so you never have to do it, but normally you just probably use the 1 energy for this to proc one of the cards that are in your life to be able to use that effect, and you get some cycle as well, which is kind of nice. So something to just consider is that you should consider the cards in your life as an extension of your hand most of the time, which is really nice because there's not as much ways to interact with these kind of cards. And I think that's really, really cool. So quick primer for how this leader works. Full your life is face up. When you lose the game. When you take damage, you flip it face up instead of like drawing it to your hand, right? So you have 8 life, and you can still have 8 life in your area, but if all 8 of them are face up, then you lose the game. That's kind of the idea. But there are some ways to manipulate that from there. Also, permanent cards in your life can only face up by skills on mono yellow cards. You can't add face up cards in your life to your hand, so it just means that you can't like flip a card face up and then like use time magic to add it to your hand. You can't like double dip with that. That would be a good effect, and this is probably a super mediocre. But honestly, I'm going to say it, I think I had some testing with it. I've been actually enjoying testing with this, but it's really janky. I'm not going to say it's not janky. So you just can't do that. Also, you get to play this guy at the start of the game, which is, spoilers, pretty much like the second half of the text for your leader. It's pretty bonkers. So 10 drop barrier field, auto once per turn when a card in your life is flipped face up. Choose up to one of your opponent's cards and switch it to rest mode. Also activate main once per turn. If all your energy is mono yellow, you choose one of your cards in your life and 1 yellow Frieza army card in your battle area. Place them in the owner's drop. Draw 2, then choose 1 mono yellow Frieza army or up to 1 or unison card from your hand and place in your life. So I'm going to stop saying mono yellow Frieza army or mono yellow unison card, because that's a mouthful and it's pretty much every one of these cards. I'm just going to say something like add it to your life. So then also activate main or battle if you have 3 or more face up cards in your life and this is in your drop area. Flip this leader to its backside, and if you do, place the top card of your deck into your life face up. So you want to use this effect to awaken more than your actual awaken, just because you get like 1 more resource by putting it into your life. But you also see there's no inherent draw with this, which is really weird. But I promise you that the hand advantage is there in this deck. It's just not traditional how you would normally look at it. And it's a little obscured because cards face up in your life still can be used for benefits later on in the game. So that is kind of how this works, and it's a big field card. Then on the backside of this, you also, like, you'll notice that there's no drawing when attacking or anything like that, which is a little peculiar, but I promise you it works. Permanent is the same. Both of them are the same. I don't know why it's not just one big permanent, but there it is. And then also it has a new activate battle. Once per turn, place 1 card from your life into your drop area. You get to draw 1 card, then this gets plus 5k power and double strike for the battle. So that's really good. And so the kind of idea for this archetype in general too is you want to send cards from your life into your drop area to activate their effects for doing so, and you get some free plays and some free activations and everything like that. So the big cards to talk about are the Frieza, the Onslaught Begins. It becomes a blocker for free for 1 if you want it, which is kind of nice. And something else too you kind of have to consider is that you're still like technically drawing a card for 1 energy because you play this from your life. So that's kind of how I see it as well. There's also the Frieza Trained at Last, so double strike auto for yellow. If you're a Frieza army, when all your energy is mono yellow, if it's sent there, you get to play it from your drop. And then also, if your leader card is a yellow Frieza army and you place 1 card from your life to your drop, when your opponent plays a battle card, choose it. That card switches rest mode. If you do, draw 1 and negate the skill for the turn. This gets around deflect. It does not get around barrier, and you do get the draw, which is nice. And it can be on either player's turn, so do make sure to recognize that. But this is a really solid card for the archetype. It's very, very good for what it does, and just the best one. We're just using this for like extra procs, but we honestly don't use it that often. And then also we do have Ginyu, a new transformation. So if your leader card is yellow and all your energy is mono yellow, when this card is face up in your life, is placed in your drop, you get to play it. If you don't have another unison card in play, you put a marker on it, so you get to start with 2 markers unison for free, which is the best thing about this leader, being able to have unisons that come out for free, and then you get to the benefits from it. So. And then also +1 activate main, you may place 1 face-up card in your life under this. If you do, choose 1 mono yellow battle card in your hand, place in your life face up, and then you get to draw 1. So there's no unison, but that makes sense because it's already the unison for the archetype. But it's a cool effect, and it does help you there. And Rejuvenation actually is not too terribly hard to do with this unison, especially like you can just hard cast it for 3, do the +1, and then rejuvenate afterwards because it does put 1 card underneath it inherently, and then you get to heal 1. Is that the best play most of the time? No, but it is something if you need it, and that's kind of cool there. So that's just kind of how the basic archetype works. We also have these 1-drops that kind of just help you get there. So this lets you look top 5 for a Frieza army or a unison's cost 2 less. And then also for 1 yellow, if you still have the field card out, you can play this from your drop for free with its skills negated. And then, which just means you have another way to proc this draw 2 effect off this. So, I mean, like 1 energy to draw 2 cards is pretty good. So I do think that's good, especially since this is already in your drop area probably. So you don't even have to you don't even have to discard a card first. You just have to pay 1 energy inherently for it, which is good. You can keep looping this too once per turn. So that's kind of nice. And then Cold as Ice this is also probably the best one. This activates in the drop area, and then you can send 1 face-up card from your life to your drop to cycle. And from after that, the bigger thing is just being able to use it for free. It means that you can get a unison out for free, which means you get to do unison stuff for free, which is still strong in this meta. And then this lets you just draw 2 cards if needed by placing a face-up life into your drop area. So that can be good there too. So all of these are good. I think they're strong. There's also the 1-drop negate that I think should be played if you want it. I just haven't included there. So that is the basic archetype for you guys here. And let's go into our just kind of specific card discussions. First, this leader can run Cold Bloodlust, so that's probably worth it in some regard. Still a strong card right now. Gets around barrier, does not get around deflect, but some cards just have barrier, and you have to just run 1. It's just like the tax for running this leader, so you gotta make room for that. Also with Power of Super Saiyan, just really good 1-drop yellow card. For super combos, I'm using 2 of the Sashimi. If I can click it, there we go. If your leader card is yellow, you have a yellow unison in play. When this card is using a combo, draw 1. Then at the end of battle, choose up to 1 of your yellow unison cards with Rejuvenate. Place this card underneath it. So if you need just like another Rejuvenation target, you can do it. Honestly, it's really hard to get Krillin off effectively in this because sometimes, again, you're gonna have only 2 life face down, but you'll have 5 or 6 in your life, so you just don't have any way to combo with this. And Krillin doesn't even it's not even a 10k combo. It doesn't kind of do anything. So I like this. It's searchable off our leader. You do have to have a unison play for it, but that's not too terribly hard to do, especially with Super Saiyan 2 Son Gohan in this deck. Still, just the reason to run yellow unisons is to be able to empower this into it. And for free, again, we can use an effect like Tacoma, Cold as Ice, put this from our drop this from our life into our drop area, play it for free with 2 markers, 1 inherently, 1 for the +1, and then we can play this on top of it, and we'll have 5 markers. So on turn 3, you can play Son Gohan with 4 or more markers on it, which is really, really strong and pretty much the same meta still. So it can only pop 1 thing, but then you can start getting this off, and I think it's just really strong. If you want to run 4, I don't think that's a bad idea for a deck like this either. What else we got? We are also running the new kind of Pan Gohan line from the new set. So this is just still a good card, and just being able to get rid of cards with barrier in a deck like this where you don't even have to search it out are inherently play it. You do have to play a Z battle card with any cost 2 or more, so you have to play this, if you want to switch the ratios between the Frieza and the Gohan, you can, but it's just really strong to be able to use this to pop something and then get 2 swings and not really have to be as proactive about finding it. You just have to put it in your Z energy, which is kind of nice there. We also do have the big 8-drop Gohan. It's just such a good line. It's so flexible in any deck that just needs a win condition without having to like commit to a win condition in the sense of what you're doing. So I think it's a good finisher for it. It has ways to get rid of cards as well, and I think that's very, very strong. And it's a big deflect, dual attack, double strike barrier dude. So it checks all the marks. It's going to be hard to get rid of and put in some good swings, which is kind of nice. What else we got? We're running a Dr. Gero because we do sometimes need to get a card into our drop area. This could include the Sorbet or the Tagoma Cold as Ice. Either of these, you kind of need to find these once per game at least for their effects. So helping you find that off a super combo that's always a 10k, which is not a guarantee in a deck like this, I think is strong. We're running the Piccolo and Gohan because I just love this secret rare so much. I think it's very strong for what we're reviewing. And then we also have the 5-drop Frieza Divine Transformation, which lets you, if your leader card's yellow and this card play 2 of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, KO them, flip 1 card in your life face down, and then switch this to active at the end. Also, auto, once per turn when your opponent activates the counterattack skill, choose up to 2 their cards, switch in the rest mode, and they can't be switched to active mode until the end of your opponent's turn. So this can swing, and then if they have you can choose energy, and then they get 2 less energy next turn, which is kind of nice. So being able to unramp them there if they play a counterattack. It's for any attack, not just this one, so I think that is strong. Release from Evil, good. Time Magic, good. And then also Mecha Frieza, very good. Especially since we get a free one into our drop area eventually with Cutting Edge recovery device. So that's something to consider there as well. It doesn't count it when it's on the field. It's only when it's in the energy or drop, but that's pretty easy and kind of justifies not running too many of these extra cards these cards in there either. So I think that is good. And I think that's everything else. Cooler because we're playing a yellow deck. But it's honestly, you do have to kind of get into the learning curve of playing these cards at the right time and the timing for it. But once you get there, I think this deck is very strong. And I really enjoy playing. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would promise. Like I thought it was going to be bad and not very helpful. But the kind of flexibility of yellow right now and playing the superhero package as well as just how obnoxious like this life mechanic is in the first place, I think it's scarily strong. So that's going to be the video today. I hope you guys did enjoy it, and I'll catch you all next time.